All right, here we go. Greetings. Welcome to the new series, Never Stop Learning. That's what we do. We keep learning new tricks and techniques every single day with a journey of a nonstop learning process. Today we're going to be working on the new RTX 3090 card. That's the graphics card that's supporting this thing. And today we're going to start off in Zbrush, do some sculpting kind of work, and then we'll work our way uh, into some new tools. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by bringing up our light box, and we're gonna start off with the Z spheres. So Z spheres allow you to create like a blocked out version of your characters and your creatures and your worlds really easily. So you can kind of start placing different like landmarks, and these serve as a baseline for your creations, for your sculptures to live on. Just going to do a quick test of the audio. These serve as okay, looks like the audio is working fine. So yeah, that's one thing I want to maybe start doing more is streaming straight to YouTube because it might offer, an easier avenue for people to learn on. But anywho, right now I'm using the Z Spheres tool inside of ZBrush and just kind of scaling up different objects. It also helps to use a tool like Pure Reference. Pure Ref is a free app that lets you have your reference footage live on top of your screen at all times. So that can be pretty useful. So let's say you're in a site like Pinterest, which I'll pull up right here. So let's say you're in Pinterest and you're looking up fantasy animals, things that inspire your sculpture work from, and you come across, like a creature that you like. Kind of like some of these fantasy horses, Pegasus. Oh, this one looks pretty cool. So let's say I came across this reference image. I can just drag it right from Pinterest into here, and this will live above everything all the time. So you can use this to kind of bring your references out of one program and into another. It can be kind of useful. So I'm just going to look up some more references. I like this little firehead looking creature. Okay, let's keep doing that. I'm going to say maybe fantasy fire creatures. Oh wow, look at that. There's a whole lot of that already. Oh, this looks pretty neat. Set as a reference. Kind of like these abstract skull shapes. That skull shape is resonating with me. I want to try to make something like that. Cool. So that's kind of how you can use Pure Reference when you're working. Yeah, it can be pretty sweet. So you got Pure Reference on the side here, and then we can use that. Oh, now you see how it vanished like that? There's a setting that you got to change in Pure Reference if you haven't used it in a while. If I'm just going to right click on here and just go into Settings, and I'm going to choose a couple of different preferences. One is it's going to always have it on front. So bring selected images to the front, lock window. Let's see, where is it? Embed, visibility. I want the box to be visible. I'm just forgetting how to always have it in the very front. Let me just read them slower. Warm local images. Set auto down sale. Huh. Show pop-ups when window. Show pop-up when window state changes. Huh. I can't remember how to lock this into the front. So there's a way to keep it always in front of your screen, like I like to use it, where it always just lives in here. Let me look it up online. How to get Pure Ref to stay on top. All right, so the way to do it is to go to, okay, so you right click under the menu And then under mode, there it is, always on top. There we go. So now this will always live on top of our footage while we're working, which can be very, very useful. All right, so I'm going to start off by just trying to roughly sculpt out some of the head shape in here. And things to keep in mind with pure reference is that it just sits on top and you can keep working. That's it. I'm using the scale tool to kind of make these a little bit tinier. We can use the draw tool, we can use the scale tool, we can use the move tool. All of these different ways of just moving our geometry around to make a more complicated form. And I'm just going to move these around here. Just looking at that head shape is kind of cool. It's like a sci-fi, not sci-fi, it's like a fantasy head shape, fantasy character. Okay, just bringing that in. Awesome, awesome. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll go down to the middle here and draw another form. And from the side view, I might just push that back a little bit. Okay, so then we can press A to see what that looks like. You can kind of see very roughly what we're getting there. Pretty neat stuff. I might as well just do other parts of the character's body. I'm not going to copy it to a T. I'm going to make it hopefully just inspired by it, but we'll spend more of the time doing doing our own thing. Yeah, so that's going to be the head of the character, roughly speaking. Great. Now I'm going to go to the Subtools and create another area to place our assets. So I'm going to go to Subtools. This gives us a different object that we can add to our scene. So if I go to Subtool and click on Append, I can append another Z-sphere. And with this Z-sphere, first off, I'm going to move my character's body, or move their head up there. But now with this new Z-sphere, we can do the same thing that we just did before, but I could use it to build out some of the other parts of the character's body. So starting off with the scale tool, and we'll go to the draw tool, and I'm just creating that body that is, separated, really separated from, so I'm just forgetting how to zoom in into the Zbrush. There we go. A lot of different hotkeys are going through my head. Okay. Then we're going to draw and add some of these large shoulder thingies. And then we'll just make these little pointy bits at the very top. And some idea, we can press the letter A and that will kind of mesh it all together. So we got these two elements. Now let's work on sculpting some details. So one of the first ones that we can do here is go to the head shape and just zoom in, both in our reference here as well as on our 3D model. This program is Zbrush. And we're just going to go in with the clay buildup brush and just start building up some clay, start building up some forms. Now we are running this on the new RTX card, so it should be lightning fast. There's new CPUs in here. There's some new GPUs. So I'm just going to start off and just start, creating a lot of those forms here using a Wacom tablet on my side of the screen here. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and smooth all those out. Okay. I'm going to go to the brush size and increase that draw size and just do a big voxel smooth across everything here. Some of my favorite brushes in this program are the standard ones. So the damn standard brush and the clay buildup brush, they just have a lot of use cases, and I like them. I like them a lot as brushes. Okay, so I'm just kind of making a little bit of a carving out here for the eyes. And continue adding some clay. Just kind of following a little bit of those forms that I'm seeing inside of the reference here. And let's kind of get these a little bit more pointed. Okay, now we're going to add the Sculptress Pro, and this will allow us to create some really interesting lines. Right now it's looking more alien-like than I would, than I want it to be. So we'll keep working on that. You can also go to the trim brush and start trimming away some of the edges here. The trim dynamic brush kind of flattens things out, so it's a nice brush when you're trying to create really hard edges or really hard surfaces on anything. Kind of just like a flattening tool. You can feel it really just flatten into the model, push into that model. Great. Now we're going to grab the pinch brush, and I'm just going to try to pinch these eyes in a little bit to make them a bit more narrow. And then we'll grab the move brush with a nice soft diameter and just kind of move those eyes a bit more manually apart. And then we're going to smooth out the insides of them. Great. All right, now I'm just going to smooth out the face here, go to our clay buildup brush. Just going to build up some clay around here and then smooth out that clay. And same idea, just kind of build up some clay, smooth it out. It's really a very common, I guess, workflow / process when you're inside of Zbrush of adding some clay, subtracting clay, adding clay, subtracting clay. And that gets a lot of the work done. I'm going to bring in that trim brush again because we want to flatten some of these edges to make it a bit more stylized. And of course, the proportions are very different than our reference that we have at the top there. But I think I'm okay with that. I wasn't trying to go for exact replica of these things, but rather just to try to get the general idea across of them. The other thing we could have done is we could have started with spheres or like primitive shapes. Primitive shapes can be pretty useful when you want, a very specific style and you want to make sure that it's blocked out correctly before committing to too many more details. Um, I chose not to go that route just because I really wanted just to see the performance of the sculpting tools inside of this new card. Because what you're seeing right now is a stream is the latest. It's my latest build of a creative tools. And so I wanted to kind of, just do some tests with them now that I got a lot of the computer all set up and ready for action. Okay, just gonna add a little bit more clay up there. And let's just go ahead and subtract some clay in there, make almost like a circle. And then as for these things, these ones kind of came out a little interesting. So I'm gonna maybe use the snake hook brush to pull on these and to sharpen them. I might even use the mouse for this part. So I'm going to go to the draw tool and just try to pull up vertically on here. And then go in with the inflate brush and just inflate the volumes in there. So just so we have a little bit more mass to work off of. Okay, next I'm going to grab the snake hook brush again and just pull on a little piece there, just to create that extra little layer that we see in the reference image. Might even make the snake look a little bit smaller. That way we're only grabbing a really, really small portion of the head there. Now I'm just smoothing it out, running it through a remesh. Great, and then we're going to grab the expand brush with our inflate, and we want to just to inflate this area over here, or at least like a counter inflation. Whoa, too high. Let's bring that back. Okay, now we're going to work on the eyes. I'm going to get a really close up here to the eyeballs, switch it to a clay buildup brush. And what we want to do with the clay buildup brush here is just get in really sharp and really focus in on those eye shapes. And by adding just these little strips of clay, virtual clay, but very much just these tiny little strips of clay, we can kind of build in the intensity that we want to keep for this character in this scene, and increase the size of that drawing brush there, and just kind of smooth out some of the eye parts. And then we go in and switch it back to that clay buildup brush with a really tiny pressure sensitive area, and just kind of add a little bit more of an eyelid and just some creases to make it uh, interesting. All right, great. Now I'm just going to add some like eye muscle, almost like an eyebrow muscle that will kind of live up in here. And just by going in with a nice soft brush, you can smooth it back down. Actually, I think I added a little bit too much. I'm just going to add a little bit there and just smooth it back down. And this will kind of give us some more tension, just by adding little bumps and grooves into the model. You can also use the standard brush to create a lot of those organic forms, but I like to use it in tandem with the smooth brush. Also, I sometimes notice that painting on white can be a little bit hard to see, so I like to switch the materials to a matte cap color. And I just find that sometimes this can be really useful in trying to discern really small details in your sculpt workflow. All right, great. So I'm just going to increase that draw size and just add some extra bumps and grooves. Great. And then we're going to go in with the damn standard brush, which honestly should just be called the crease brush, because all it really does is create creases in your model. So I don't know why they call it the damn standard brush. I think it would have been a better name for it, in my opinion, would have been to call it the crease brush. I think of it as the brush that helps me create creases in my models. Okay, cool. So now we're going to work on the lower half of the body here. So for the lower half of the body, first off, we're going to go in with just take a look at our polygon count. Okay, pretty dense mesh right there. What we're going to do first and foremost is go in and the large build-up brush and smooth out some of the stuff so it's a little bit simpler geometry to be working on. You can see those polygons kind of separate into that space there. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is start kind of building up the forms of this mesh by adding a large clay brush to really help define and refine the core shapes that I see throughout the composition there. So it's very much like a large like torso kind of thing going on here, and it's like opened in the center So I'm just trying to emulate a lot of what we see in that reference image there. These have big shoulder cuffs in the back. I'm going to smooth out some areas in there with a slightly smaller brush just to add some more fidelity. Maybe go in with a larger brush, smooth out the front torso, pectorals. All right, and then just by holding Alt and dragging, we're able to actually reduce a lot of the model and simplify it. Now I'm just going through and just smoothing it all. Okay, so just giving us a little bit more geometry to work with. All right, let's go work on one of these shoulders, or I guess we're working on both. So we're going to grab the snake hook and just pull up on this and create a little spindle. And let's get another spire in there. Great, great, great. Then we're going to go in with the H polish brush. Actually, I take it back. Let's use the trim dynamic brush to create some nice hard grooves on the bottom here. I usually go between the H polish brush and its counterpart because they work really well together. And I'm just going to pull in the move brush here, going with the clay buildup over there, just to kind of create a little bit of a lip around the bottom of the shoulder. And we'll go to grab that damn standard brush and use that to create some nice little creases in the shoulder cuff. Okay, okay. Let's go back to the front torso. So a lot of the front torso is just going to have like a flaming, flame in there. So what I'm going to do just to kind of work on that space is just brighten it up, make it like a circle in there, and then smooth a lot of that interior. And then around the outsides, kind of act like pectoral muscles are here. We come in with the trim brush just to create these nice little hard edges for the light to rest on. And we're just pushing around the clay, just getting familiar with that canvas. Going in, smoothing it out. I'm going to go into slightly smaller draw size and just shape up some more bending bits around the corners. Going around the back of that shoulder cuff. Just kind of going in and just adding a little bit more visual detail to some of the shapes. All right, great. Now we're going to grab the damn standard brush, also known as the crease brush. And with that, we're just going to go in and create some more creases for the model to distinguish forms on. So I'm going to go in and just carve right into the model here, and then bring it around. There we go. This kind of just helps to create some visual separation and connectedness at the same time with different parts of the model. All right, so just creating a little bit more carvings there. We can also hold the Alt button to do the inverse, and this creates like a really sharp, crease on those areas if we want to add like a sharpening effect do anything. I'm just going to run it through a remesher, grab that pinch brush wherever it might be, and I like to sometimes just pinch a lot of these openings closed a bit. Also helps me refine the shapes so they're not so dramatic from angle to angle. Okay, so we created that creepiness there. Looks good. I guess we can maybe add some arms or some spires. All right, so we're going to go to append, and we're going to, we're going to go back to append, and I'm going to go back to append, and we're going to append a cone. We're going to take this cone, and we're just going to start off by orienting it differently. So I'm going to grab the cone here and start off with squashing it down, scaling it up, and then, of course, rotating it downwards and pushing this off into this space over here. Okay, so we're just doing that. Yeah, something like this. And now that that's placed there, we're going to go to the our tools panel. Oh, wait, I don't see the tools. There should be a setting up at the top for whoa, yeah, I don't see all the. There should be a whole menu up here. Yikes! That's actually how I'm going to be saving and exporting too. Oh, there they are. Okay, so menus. So under menus, you go to transform, and we do activate symmetry. And what this allows us to do is work in tandem. So I'm going to take this object. Actually, let's just make it easier on ourselves. We're just going to duplicate this layer, and with this copy, slide it over into position. So I'm going to go to transform, temporarily turn off activate symmetry, and that way we can have these cones on both sides of the character. Okay, so we have that on the side. Testing audio. Testing audio 1 2 3. Testing audio 1 2 1 2. Testing audio. I think we're running into a little audio error here. 1 2. 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. Weird. It looks like something broke the audio signal, but I'm not sure why or where. Broke the audio. Oh, there it goes. Testing. Oh, I just couldn't see it. My bad. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got this little set, it's like arm piece there, and we're gonna go with it and do some cool stuff. So I'm gonna go to it. First off, move them down a little bit further, and we're gonna merge this one downwards. So now these are part of the same layer. And now with our clay buildup brush, we can be, adding all sorts of details right onto this part of the model. So I'm going to start off with kind of sharpening the bottom half there, and then going in with the snake hook and just pulling up and down on the top of these arm pieces. Then we're going to go in with a slightly smaller snake hook brush and do the same thing, just pulling on it, pulling downwards, letting gravity kind of pull it down, almost melting it to some degree. Really, the goal is just to break up the silhouette. All right, and just get some masking there. Then I'm going to grab a larger brush and smooth out some of these details. And then on the inside, we're going to go with the clay buildup brush, slightly smaller brush size, and just carve right into it. and then smooth it out and remesh the results. Okay, so we got some arms, we got some torsos, we have some neck stuff going on here. Great. Now I'm just going to add a few more details right onto the model here. Just trying to break up the silhouettes and make the forms a bit more interesting texture-wise. Okay, great. Carving away at it. All right, now we're going to go to our geometry. And I'm just going to Dynamesh all of this. That will just kind of make it a bit more cohesive. We'll go to this piece here, also throw it through a Dynamesh as well. And we'll do the same thing to the upper head portion. Throw it through a Dynamesh. Dynamesh is like a little calculation that tries to fuse all the geometry together as cleanly as it can. And yeah, we just want to do that periodically because we want to keep the files manageable. Dynamesh, there we go. Not sure why the polygon groups are still separated like that. They should all be one now, but okay. All right, great. So now I'm just going to adjust just some basic placements of some of these. So we're going to grab our 3D gizmo, wherever the gizmo may be. There it is. I'm going to move the torso. Actually, let's move the head forward. Okay, great. So we have this really weird model based off of this kind of reference artwork. And now what I want to do is I want to move into painting this asset so that we can, put some cool stuff into real time with it. So before that, we need to export what we have. So I'm going to merge all of my model together now. So it's one piece. So we're going to go to merge, merge all. And there should be merge visible. So there we have it. So now we have one asset that's all combined all together. Actually, one thing I want to change before I merge it would be to go back, if I can go back. I want to move these arms down a little bit. So I'm just going to move the arms right down there. Just a little bit down. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to merge all. And with this merged one, we're going to click on export. And we're going to push this into a new directory. So I'm going to go to F volume 2021. This is going to be we're going to be using this for EmberGen. So Ember, actually this is just a fire monster. And we're going to make a new folder in here. This is going to be our geometry, or just geo. And we're going to call this the high res version. Awesome. Now we're going to take the high res version and we go to the ZRemesher and click on ZRemesh. And what this will do is create really nice, friendly polygons that represent a simplified version of the model. And what we can do with this data is we can project one texture onto the other, and it gives you the best of both worlds. So here is the reprojection. You can see how many, it's a lot lighter weight. Very few polygons are going to have to worry about. I think this has a total, let's see, about 10,000 polygons. So it's a very, very lightweight model. This is also known as retopology. It's create all those nice little lines there for us to work with. So pretty neat. Okay, great. So we did that. Next, we're going to export this one out. I'm going to call this the low res version. All right, so we got our high res version, we have our low res version. So now that we have those two versions, we could go straight into Adobe Substance Painter 3D or Adobe Substance 3D Painter. So I'm going to first save my project file. So go to File, Save As, and I'm just going to save this Fire Monster here. Fire Monster Raw. Save. Great, and then we're going to close ZBrush. Oh, make sure we're saving it. All right, so we save ZBrush. Great, cool, cool, cool. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is open up Substance Painter 3D. So it's over here. It's right. I think they changed the logo for it. It's now called Adobe Substance 3D Painter. And we're going to use this to procedurally paint our character. So I'm going to go to Close, and we're going to go to File, New, and we'll go to Select, and we're going to look for the geometry that we just finished making. In Geometry, we're going to grab our low-res version and hit Open. I'm going to set this to Auto Unwrap. I'm also going to set the resolution a little bit higher at maybe 2K res or even 4K. Let's do 4K and hit OK. All right, so it's unpacking all the UVs. And so now we have our low-res model in here, and we have a UV coordinate that we can paint. So you can paint models like this by dragging materials onto there, and then you're able to paint them procedurally all over your scene. Oh, hey, what's up, Dogwood? Yes, currently this is only live on YouTube, but thanks for reminding me. I was just testing out the audio and stuff, so I'll go ahead and start Instagram live stream, and then it will kind of direct people here. I'll tell them that the full screen video is on YouTube. So thank you, Dogwood, for being here. Let me get that set up. Get that set up over here. All right, and then I'll just make a little live stream. Boy, so this one is got to come up with the name of this. This is yeah. I'll just say we're streaming on YouTube right now. Live stream. All right, so this is going to be live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. Thank you, Dawood. Live on YouTube. Okay, I'll just call it live on YouTube, and then we'll just go right off from there. Copy, add details, and live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Instagram. We are currently live streaming to YouTube. We have a new computer, whole new computer build. This is an RTX 3090. We're pushing it through the paces. Got some new simulations that we're going to be doing, some fire simulations today. So join us in the live stream on YouTube if you want to have the full picture. We're live streaming to YouTube right now. So please join me on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. There'll be a full screen version. We have a way cleaner audio that's coming in here as well. Live on YouTube, full screen. Oh, I like that. Oh, so good. I'm going to add that detail. So it says live on YouTube, and then I'll just put hashtag full screen. Full screen. Yes, full screen. I'll put that in quotes because that's a big detail, because there's a lot of little buttons that we're pressing today in the Instagram live stream, but it's a lot easier to see this on YouTube, as has been told to me from kind people. Live on YouTube, full screen. All right, cool. And then let me just put that. I'm making the caption on here. All right, there we go. So yeah, join us on HD quality audio, much better than Instagram. Exactly. We got better audio, better video. So feel free to join. All right, so what we just did was we have a new computer. I have an RTX 3090 now. I waited months and months and months to get this. But right now we just made this little guy here on ZBrush, and then we brought this little character, and I based it off this character I saw on Pinterest over here. And so now we're going to be painting them in Substance Painter and getting right back to it. Hello, Padiki. I haven't been on your live for a while now. Have been? Oh, I've been doing great. Yeah, just been staying true to making art and learning something new every day. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and bake some mesh maps into our model. So I'm gonna grab the high-res fire monster model, and we're gonna bake these textures right into the model here. We got a new AMD Threadripper CPU, so it cracks through a lot more numbers and visual calculations per second. So that means more creativity, more art, a higher volume output. So there we go. We got this creature going for us. Now I'm going to go. I have a charcoal material that I was using last week. Let me see if I can find the charcoal. Or I think it was maybe burn. Maybe it was like wood burn. Let me try wood rough. Okay, there we go. So we got some rough wood material. Kind of looks like Groot from some things. Yes, RTX 3090 is the graphics card that we are rocking with now. It is a game changer in terms of performance. Big differences. And yeah, I've been wanting to have my hands on this for quite some time. All right, so we're just going to play with the height position and the world normals here. I'm going to go to the color of the wood. Okay, just creating some just dual tones in there. Great, so we got this wood material, and then what I'm going to do is add a burnt. Actually, we should look up reference images of burnt wood. So let me just go to Instagram, and I'm just going to look up burnt wood. There we go. So burned wood has a very different texture than non-burnt wood. Oh, and there's like the white flakes and stuff too. So I'm going to drag this wood burn material into our references so that we're able to see it while we're working. Or maybe I'll do a burnt tree. Burnt tree texture. Before the 3090, my computer was the GTX 1080. That's what I've been using for the last 5 years. So as of just today, it's my first time with all my software up and loaded, ready to work on this whole new machine, a whole new world out here for the content creation that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now we can. A lot more CPU, a lot more rendering stuff. So you're struggling for Substance Painter, any advice, bro? So yeah, if you're struggling with Substance Painter, my main piece of advice is to follow their tutorials on YouTube, or even this one. So they now have an auto unwrap tool, so you don't even have to really know UV maps like you used to. Now you can kind of get away without them, which is pretty cool and can be pretty helpful. All right, so I kind of got this wood texture in here. Oh, thank you so much, Soy. Yeah, this is a huge upgrade in terms of performance. Let's go ahead and bring in a environment. There we go. So you can kind of just see our scene here. And I'm also going to turn on shadows, just so we can get that shadow density in there. It's a little bit strong. Okay, cool. So we got this wood creature that we just sculpted. We have some wood on here. Now, what I want to do is I want to set this on fire. We are going to be doing a really cool real-time particle simulation of fire that's now possible. But what we want to do first is burn the wood. So we have our wood rough on here, and I'm just going to copy the wood rough. So we have a second copy here, and I'm going to set this wood to a dark black material. We're also going to increase the metallic and reduce the roughness. And this will create a bit of that kind of burnt wood look. Might boost the roughness up a tiny bit more, just so we have a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and just view the 3D view only. So now you can see that we kind of have a burnt wood material. It's looking a little too shiny, so I might reduce the metallic nature of it so the light kind of scatters more. and I'm going to increase the scratches. We're also going to go to the technical parameters and increase that height position so that we get a little bit grungier material in the height range of the shader. Okay, there we go. So now we got this very burnt wood kind of thing going on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use proceduralism so that we can have only the burnt wood be where I want the fire to be. So I'm probably going to do it like if you've ever seen a campfire, uh, when you look at the wood of a campfire, notice how not all of the material is the same color. Usually until, let me see if I can find some examples. Campfire, campfire, campfire. Here we go. Let's see, campfire wood. These are all kind of hard to see. What I'm trying to suggest is that only half of it's going to be a burnt material and the other half is going to be like shining bright. So we have two wood textures now. We have the wood before it's being burnt and we have the wood after it's being burnt. Now what we're going to do is use a black mask and we're going to use proceduralism so that we can paint in where we want fire to burn. So I'm going to add a generator, and we're going to use one called the light field generator. And the light field lets you choose the direction of light to trigger where the burning of a material is going to go. So I'm just playing with the light attenuation, and we're playing with the gloss percentage, and now we can change the angle. So if I wanted, we can have only like this, the back of the character could be burnt, or the tops. I'm going to play with these angles until we get something that's awesome. I might do maybe underneath it. Maybe the burn is from underneath the model. So we're just rotating these around here. And then also maybe not burn. Okay, how about this? Instead of that, we'll use a generator, and this one we'll change it to one called curvature field. The curvature field uses the curvature of the model to define what areas are going to be receiving a mask texture, and we can play with the balance. So instead of, that would have taken me quite a lot of time. You should try hot wood, charcoal, and know when I still have the hot fire inside. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we could definitely do some hot fire on the inside. I think we should do that. All right, so I'm just going to play with the global blur here. Okay, so that's like the first bit is just putting in like burnt material. And yeah, so right now we have some burnt wood. And then what I want to do with the burnt wood is run it through another procedural mask, a mask within a mask. This one, we're going to use dirt to generate where that is. So I'm going to go to maybe fabric damage, edge rust, maybe sand dust. What is this? Dusty dirt. Let's try this one. So now it's going to use some dusty dirt to help define what areas of the model are going to receive the dark burnt material. And this will help us get this kind of really photorealistic textures inside of our character's eyes and stuff. Yeah. I like the cyborg face filter. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we'll need to make some more of those. Okay, great. Next, I want to put some glowing bits inside the eyes, make it all creepy and weird. So to do that, we're going to make a new fill layer, and I'm going to fill this material with a glowing material. Sometimes I don't see glowing as an option. You see, what do we need to change to allow glowing to be supported by our material? Actually, for now, I'll just do color, and I'll just make a really bright color in here. And then we're going to add a black mask, and now we can just paint in where we want it to glow from. So I can just go into the eye here and just paint in a bit of glowing light inside of the eye sockets of the character, just to kind of add some, more detail. Hello, we're doing live streaming on YouTube right now. You can check out the full screen as we work on making this character come to life. I'm going to go back to our mask editor of the burnt material. and I want to do another material burn. So I'm going to grab the brown wood here, and we're going to set this one to a white wood, maybe a little bit lighter, but not too light. And then we're going to add a black mask. And what we're going to do with this is paint in where we would expect the paint of the material to be burnt, kind of, or like older wood that's already been burned. It has like less like fuel in it, if you will. So I'm just going to go ahead and grow that onto the reverse side, and then lower the balance and reduce the contrast. And then we'll do a mask within a mask. So I'm going to group this one, add a black mask, and now we can just paint in with a rusted ground material, and we'll get this kind of this look in there. Now, actually, I don't know if I'm feeling the I don't know if I'm totally feeling the white material in the. It doesn't really look like burnt, like old burnt wood. It kind of just looks like paint was thrown onto it. But what I'm doing is playing with the ambient occlusion, playing with the curvature, and trying to use those values to decide where the paint will go inside of the model. One thing that's really nice with Substance Painter is just the proceduralism allows you to change your mind about really everything after the fact. So we can go in here and say, actually, I want these to be a different color altogether. So I might even have more areas of like black burnt wood. These ones are almost like a gray section. That just, again, adds to that realism. When you have different layers of lighting on there, it helps with realism. Cool, we're going to go to our environments, and I'm going to change the environment to go in front of a cave or like a beach or something. Okay, this is looking pretty cool. All right, so, oh, we got a lot of people joining on YouTube. Hello, welcome. Oh, Brent. Wow. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna take a second here on YouTube and say hello. Brent's here. Says, hi, Don. You could add emission channel to the texture set settings. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Yes. Settings. How do you add, oh, there, texture set settings. And then you said go to add, I'll go to the plus sign, and I want to add a luminant, oh, an emissive trap. Yay, thank you, Brent. Yo, I'm doing fine. Just starting to do more live streaming here on YouTube. Just started right about now, right today. And I have a RTX 3090 now, so I can go a lot more ham with the renders. How's life at DreamWorks? Is it still fun? You still enjoying it? Are you working on any cool scenes that you're not allowed to talk about, but you just share your enthusiasm? For those of you that are jumping in here on Instagram, we are also live streaming to YouTube right now. The comment section is lighting up, and I'm responding over there. Adam says the charred edge masking gives me a round of applause. Thank you, excellence. To add a glow, cool. Yes, let's add the glow in a second. It says, "What's up, dude? Hell yeah, I'm actually leaving. Going to Pixar, July 26th. Oh my God, Brent, congrats! Oh wow, you're gonna be at Pixar. Wow, so you've gone from Blue Sky to DreamWorks, and now you're gonna be going to Pixar. Congratulations! They're gonna be very. DreamWorks is gonna really miss having you because I mean, you know how dope your abilities are. All the work that you did on Croods, like all the lava that you did in Croods, it's just so beautiful. Among many other things, but that was like one of my personal favorites when I was seeing you work on the cooled off lava in the intro for Croods 2. That was so sweet. So congrats again, Brent. You're going to be going to Pixar. There's a lot of cool movies that are coming out of their studio right now, so that'll be really fun. All right, so we're going to turn on the emissive channel and make sure that these eyes are glowing. And now we have a glowing channel. So we can add really cool, trippy glowing effects to our scene now. Brent says, thanks, dude. Says, you are dope too, dude. Oh, wow, thanks, Brent. That's some mad portfolio, Brent. Wow. Love what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing. We got some good vibes in here going on. All right, so what color What color eyes are we feeling, folks? What do we what's the status? What are we feeling for the yeah. Just gonna add a little bit of a manual glow here. I just got Embergen, so it can do real-time fire simulations, which we're gonna be throwing all over this character in a little bit. Photorealistic real-time fire and liquid simulations. It's beautiful. Um, okay, cool. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit more glow in front of the eyes just for emphasis. And I'm also going to add some glow over the whole thing. So I'm going to copy it, paste it in place. We're going to delete this mask. So I'm going to go to clear mask / remove mask. So there's the whole thing glowing. Then we're going to add a black mask again. In the black mask, we're going to add a generator. And in the generator, we're going to add a curvature field. And then we'll reverse it. And then we'll change the balance. So what I'm trying to do with this curvature field is add really small areas of glowing contrast into the model. So I'm going to go to the curvature area and reduce the big shapes, huge shapes, and large shapes, and try to boost up the fine shapes and the sharp shapes, as well as the cavities. And we're just sharpening up those fine shapes, reducing the brightness, decreasing the contrast, and moving these shapes around here to give us some nice fall off. Oh wow, actually kind of looks cool to have glowing tips like that. It wasn't the intent, but I kind of like that accident. Whoa. Okay. What software are you using, Don Allen III? Oh, right now this program is called Substance Painter. It is, sorry, it's not called that anymore. Adobe just went ham with it. Now it's called Adobe Substance 3D Painter. It's a long mouthful of a name, but that's what it's called. And we did the sculpting. I did the 3D sculpting of this character in Zbrush by another company called Pixelogic. And once we're going to be happy with the design of this weird wood creature, I don't know what this thing is, I'm going to be bringing it into a third program called Embergen, where you can do real-time fire, fog, potion, magical simulations, and it's like they look beautiful and it works in real time, and yeah, it's wild. So we'll be jumping into that shortly. I'm going to change the eye color. I think this kind of glowing bit is kind of, I don't like it anymore. So maybe we'll do like a pink purplish thing on both of these. Might be kind of cool. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so that's kind of like a glowing pink thing. I don't know. I don't know how we're feeling about this. Um, Love what you're doing. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so okay, so we got this shape going on for us. We have a really fun thing. Also, I'm using AI right now on YouTube to remove all the ambient sound in my room. So it's using an RTX voice feature that uses AI to analyze audio and then remove like white noise, a fan or a heater or an air conditioner. It removes all that stuff in real time, and I think it's working. I think it's working out well. Okay, cool. So we got this thing. I don't know how I'm feeling about these glowing bits. I kind of liked the charred tops. So let's say we are happy with this. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the environment opacity. So now we can just see our character here. And now what we're gonna do is take our character out of Substance Painter and bring them into another program which I have never streamed live before in any context. What we're going to be bringing it into is a program known as Embergen. So let's get this model out of here. So I'm going to go to File, Export Mesh. Oh, Dawood has a question. Oh, Excellence says crimson with an orangey glow. Crimson with an orangey glow. Oh, for the tips. Crimson with an orangey glow. So that's kind of like a red orange. You're saying like a red orange. Crimson with an orangey tone. Is that kind of aligned with that visual that you have in your mind. We got a question from Dogwood on YouTube, says, how do you actually render in Substance Painter? Oh, and the ambient noise filter is nice with low latency. Yeah, yeah, it does have pretty low latency with the anti-noise, ambient noise, sorry. Question was, how do you render in Substance? So at the very top of Substance, at the very top of Substance, let's slow down for a second and take a breath. At the very top of Substance Painter is a little photograph rendering icon. This is using a render engine that comes with Substance called iRay. If you click it on, it switches the whole context, and it's no longer rendering in real time. It's now rendering with ray tracer. It's still pretty fast. As you can see, you can go really close, but this one actually puts in a lot more resolution. And what it's baking out is actually pixels. Instead of rendering like a real-time sample of something, what you're seeing here is actually is all real-time ray tracing. So it's a higher fidelity. So you use this to get whoa, look at that. Sorry, I was stripping out on the lighting there. But you can use this to get an array of really cool things done. It's slower, but it's when you're ready to render out a single image. In my case, I'm not planning on rendering from Substance Painter. My intention is I'm going to render it probably in Cinema 4D eventually. But what we need to do is extract just the geometry information out of here and bring that into another program. So I'm going to go to File, Export Textures, and we're going to export this object's textures into a new folder under the Fire monster called Mats, which stands for Materials. And we're going to select that folder. And then for the default options, I'm going to choose some pretty high resolutions here. Let's export this for USD PBR metal roughness. That looks good. And then we're going to go ahead and hit export. Wow, this computer is so fast. Oh my goodness. All those were 4K textures. They all were done in like a few seconds. So what you're rendering out of Substance Painter is 2D images. So all these images are what make up our wooden fire monster thing. And I'll try to explain what these are. Brent explained these to me back when I was working at DreamWorks. But how these work is, this one's called your albedo. It's also known as your color or your diffuse. It's got 3 names, but what it really is the color of your object if there was no other lighting information. So if I think of what color is an apple, a ripe apple, it might be like a red color. But an apple can have a different shininess to it. Those are different types of textures that would make up things or parameters that aren't exactly color. So the first one that we have here is our material. The next one here, first one we have is our base color. The next one here is our emissive track. This is all of the areas of the model that are glowing. Anything that is glowing in your model can emit light. So the emissive track is showing you, what color and at what brightness a part of the model is going to be lit up at. This one here is called the metallic map. It's how much like metal is your material, where black being not very metallic, white being very, very metallic. And when you do these things together, you can have you can create a really detailed array of materials. This one's really colorful and looks pretty bizarre. And for as bizarre as it looks, it's actually called normal. It's a normal map. A normal map uses the colors red, green, and blue to trick any render engine to push pixels in a certain direction. If it is detected, if it's blue, it's going to push it towards camera. If it's green, it's going to push it on the y-axis. If it's red, it's going to push it on the x-axis. And so by doing this trick, you can create bumps and imperfections and divots and cracks and creases. All that kind of information is projected through a normal map. And when you see it getting all these bright stripy areas, these areas are dead pixels that aren't actually being used in the model. Just the stuff that's in this kind of in these islands is really where it's where the action's at. Oh, Dylan! Hey, Dylan Locke, everybody! Welcome, Dylan Locke, here in the YouTube channel. We're trying something different. I'm gonna start streaming on YouTube some of these tutorials because got full screen. We have better audio quality. You can see the buttons actually. So thanks for being here on YouTube. I really appreciate it. All right, so this is the normal map. Let's move on to the next map. This one, what is that? This thing is called the occlusion map. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it here, but what you can use an occlusion map for is for shadows that form between the edges of things. So if you want to see an example of occlusion that you could do at home right now, put your two hands together and look in between the space where your hands meet. And in that space where your hands meet is going to be these little shadows that you will always have. That black shadow that you see in between when two surfaces of an object meet up. Those little, that little shadow that you're seeing in there is called the occlusion, the ambient occlusion. It's like a shadow that forms when two surfaces meet. And so this whole channel is designed to give you ambient occlusion, which will give you a lot more realistic textures. And we got one more. This is the roughness. This tells the software how rough or how shiny is a surface. Where rougher is, I think, black. Oh no, or white, and then shinier is black. So you can use ambient occlusion to kind of shadow, like let's say you have a character. Ambient occlusion is probably going to form where their clothes meet their body, or where their arm folds, like in their armpits, or maybe in between their fingers, or by the mouth creases, or where hair meets the skin. All that kind of areas where parts of the model would touch would be ambient occlusion. So there you have it. All these textures that you see here, when combined, will make a photorealistic render of a thing like this. Those are all the textures combined all together. So great, we have all that squared. Now we're going to open up a brand new program that I have never live streamed before. Not on Instagram, not on YouTube. And I've only been using it really for about under 24 hours. And that program is called Embergen. Boom, look at this. What is this? What is this nonsense-ness? Embergen. Everybody, this is Embergen. It lets you generate embers. And guess what? It's all real time. We're talking real time procedural particle simulations. And they are photorealistic. Right now, this is just the viewport, but take a look at the preview. The preview render shows that this thing is extremely high quality. And it is very much an active thing. So we can go to our simulation. And I can go to, I think, what is the shortcut or the Q. And look at this. I can move the fire around. It's wild. Look at that. Yes, PBR is physically based material. Oh, sorry. Wait, what is the R? Physically based reflections? Embergen does not come with Cinema 4D. There are plugins like it for Cinema 4D, like Flume or Turbulence FD. Those are kind of like that, but those ones aren't in real time. Like there's no way I would be able to do this kind of thing in Cinema 4D yet. It's just not geared. It's not designed for that, and it's not designed for that. So anyway, I'm just kind of playing with this model here. But anywho, I'm going to bring in our model and have it emit particles, which will look pretty wild. Is it only for fire or water as well? They're currently working on a liquid one. They're still in beta, or sorry, they're still in alpha with their water thing. But this thing is great for a lot. I'll give you some examples. It comes with like over 100 presets of really fantastic things. So we have everything from plasma guns, rockets, colored smoke, burnouts, cannons, tornadoes, volcanoes, moving fireballs, airflow collisions, black body explosions, black body bullet packs, crazy spells, crazy rockets. Let me do a crazy spell. Look at this thing. Look at this spell. This is in real time. You see that? You can animate these particles. Look at that. It's a crazy spell. A poof. Zippity zap. Oh, physically based rendering. Thank you so much. I got confused on the R on the PBR. Uh, so yeah, all of these are they come with the program. They help you learn how to do them. I'm still learning, as in I've been only using this for under 24 hours, so I don't really know anything. I'm learning as we're speaking. But anywho, what I want to do is bring in a fire tornado and have it kind of colliding with our creature. So to do this, we go into, so it's all node based. We have our emitter, we have our simulation, we have our color gradients. So you can change all these things, of course. So if I wanted to have it be purple fire and I want the energy in it to be like a, like a rich pink, and then maybe you go up to a light pink there. So now you have like this custom purple pink fire. And it's again, you're just changing these things in real time. We can also change things about the emitter. So let me hit accept there. We can also change things like the smoke rate. There we go. So there's more smoke now, or less smoke, or the fuel rate. If there's no fuel, there shouldn't be any fire. Now there's only a tiny bit of fuel, so the fire can only just start to take off. Or then we crank up the fuel a whole bunch, and now we get a whole big cascade of fire coming out of there. So you can use this to, oh, Brent, you gotta try out EmberGen, especially after I show you. I'm gonna bring in some stuff, some data. I don't know if I can bring in substance painter materials into here, but I can bring in that geometry. So let me show you what I mean. Right now, you see how it says the emitter is based off of a shape. This shape is, I actually can't tell what shape this is. Let me see. Can I see show bounds? Or let's see, show velocity. These are the velocity of all the particle synthesis in there. I can't remember how to see the shape, but I'll just bring in a shape and I'll show you there. So we click on here. I'm going to add a new shape from a mesh. And under the shape mesh, I'm going to grab a mesh from my file. So I'm going to go into the geometry and grab our low res, excuse me, I'm going to grab our low res creature. And then we're going to click voxelize. And as soon as you voxelize it, you can now drag it into the shape emitter. And now my creature should be the shape of the particles being emitted. The emitter is, sorry, I don't really know how to navigate it that well. It doesn't use the same viewport options that I'm used to. I think it's more like, it's closer to Unreal Engine's viewport. But let me go to the emitter. I'm going to reduce the amount of fuel in the fire here. Oh, and the smoke is still kind of very, very active smoke here. But that's I can see my model in there. Do you see my model in there, right? So it's a little hard to see, I know, but you should kind of be able to see all the smoke now makes up the monster. So I'm gonna kind of just play with parameters so we can play with my fire parameter. So we have like a fire tornado around it, and then we can go to the smoke rate. I might reduce the amount of smoke or increase it. You can make it all out of smoke. Whoa, that's pretty wild. Oh, we got some questions from Brent. Oh, from Dylan says, oh my bad, I got confused. It doesn't come with Cinema 4D, but it does come with Octane render subscription, which I have. Oh, that's really sweet. I didn't know it came with Octane. That makes sense. I think they're doing a partnership. Brent says, I really want to try this, EmberGen. I saw Alex Alvarez messing with this. Do you write this out as a VDB or an ABC or anything? Yes, you can write these out as a VDB file. You bring this into your render engine, bring it into Redshift, bring it into Octane. You can also take that data. Oh, there we go. I just wanted to see where the emitter was at. Okay, so the emitter is quite literally all of that geometry. Um, the wait, roughness. What is that? What does roughness mean in this context? Oh, that's just for our visualization of it. It's not actually. Oh, I see. It's just, yeah, it's literally the visualization of it. I wish I could replace it with my textures. That would be really sweet. Um, but yeah, let me keep going with it. So yeah, you can write this out as a VDB, or it even lets you create sprite sheets and flipbooks. You can export any of these as a flipbook, and then that can bring it right into Unreal Engine. And you have this super beautiful simulation that was rather easy on your computer. All right, so right now I'm playing with the temperature of the fire. So when you increase the temperature a lot, the fire kind of leaves a little quickly. So if I make it a little bit cooler, we'll get a little bit more of the pink occlusions. And then for our smoke rate, I'm going to reduce the smoke rate or increase it. I don't know. Maybe I might want to change the color of the smoke. So, oh, and you can change the light direction. Take a look at this. The light direction. Look at that. The shadow in there. There's a shadow on the smoke from it. And the light intensity. It's great. The light color. I mean, you get it, right? This is a very powerful tool, very fun tool. All right, let's go to our forces. We have some noise forces. I'm going to add a little bit more noise force here. Maybe change the random seed of that force field. And then we have force point. I might reduce the repelling strength or increase it. There we go. So now it's going to start falling down. Oh, crap. The fire falls down too, though. Let's turn it up the other way. Oh, that looks super cool. So if we zeroed this out, we would just get a vortex effect that kind of stays a bit closer to the model, which I really like. Let's try this. What is this? Additional pressure rate. Oh, wow, look at that. It's just pushing off of it with immense pressure. Oh, and this is like absorbing it in. Whoa. Wow. This is cool. Oh my goodness. Whoa, look at that. All right, I'm going to change the colors to make it look like fire now. So we'll go to a warm orange color for that fire. Red, it's like a red hot fire. I might even go a bit more orange with it. And then we'll go to its hot point, get a little more yellow in there. There we go. And then for its highlights, get some blue. Let's get some cyan in there. That looks like it is literally on fire. It's very hot in there. All right, so maybe we'll just go with the yellow. And then maybe our second tone, we'll just get a little bit more orange into that fire. And if we go right back to our force lines, I think you can unplug these to see what they do. So if I take off force point, I think you just click the line, delete it. I'm going to delete all the forces just so I can see what each one's doing. So our first force is just a noise force. We turn it off, what happens? Okay, so this is without any extra forces. This is just our fire emitting right off of our model. So when we add force noise, we're going to add more variation to that. It's going to start fluctuating and undulating a bit more, which I like. Next, we're going to go to our what am I looking at? The emitter. I guess the emitter is really driving a lot of this. So we have a duration of burst, and we also have time between bursts. Let me increase the time between bursts. So now it's going to pump out fire this looks like every 0.5 seconds. Can it do simulation on baked character animation? Amazing question, Dawood. That's the one thing it can't do yet, and it's also their -- 1 requested feature. It's coming. It's just they don't. It's harder. It's a lot harder for them to do than we would expect it to be. Once that happens, of course, it's going to be a real game changer. Oh, there we go. So I just increased the amount of fuel that the fire has, and then let me reduce the temperature or increase the temperature. So it's very hot fire in there. Wow, it's just like rolling flames. I'm going to reduce the temperature a bit more until we can see somewhere in between this value and the previous. So I'm reducing that temperature a lot now. See if we can see our, it's kind of hard to see. There's like a certain amount of Kelvin that's perfect for seeing the fire. Oh, there we go. So now we can see a little bit more of the body of the character. And then we have the fuel rate. I might reduce the amount of fuel in our scene or increase it if we want to be crazy. Okay, I'm just going to reduce that. Just the fact that you can play and iterate with your simulations like this in real time is absurd, because so much of my time in the past, like one thing if you've been following a lot of my work from the past, you'll notice that I've always avoided simulations because I didn't have a computer that was too ideal for simulations. Now this computer is very, very prime and ready for simulations. I mean, you see this real-time simulation happening here. All right, so what I'm playing with now is the simulation. You can also have colliders, which are cool. You can have other objects that you want something to collide with, and you can do some limited animation from within here. So let me go to our emitter here and play with the voxel count. Let me reduce the voxels. So that should lower the resolution. And then voxel size, and turn off the force noise and turn on 3 other forces. Okay, so that's the swirling force. Looks like it's a line force. Wish we could see it. Oh, there we go. Show velocity. There we go. So now we can see the force fields. How cool would it be if you could see force fields with your eyeballs? One day. I can dream. Okay. So you can see the force fields here of which direction the particles are going to uh, want to operate in. This is wild. Cool. So that's snapshot, show bounds, hide velocities. Okay, cool. So you get these beautiful plumes of fire above with that extra particle added. Oh, we got some more questions coming in. Can we mask fire? What do you mean by that? I think the short answer is yes, but I also might need some more details. So you see how I can have like a, because right now there's more than one shape that's emitting the fire. One of them is emitting these plumes. And then there's this guy, which is just mostly the noise parameter. You can see the noise being dragged through the fire, creating a lot of different new shapes. It's just like a standard noise generator. We also have our mesh shape that is in here, and this one's also emitting fire. So we just have a lot of stuff going on. In fact, I might just detach this real quick, just so that we only have one shape that's emitting fire. There we go. And then if we turn on our bounding box, you want to ideally place your fire simulations. Gosh, one thing I don't like right now is I can't rotate the way I'm used to, like I am in Cinema 4D, where I use the right mouse button in a certain way. Can't rotate certain things here. Let me just push the fire simulation off there. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we can take our fire and bring it through here. So this would be like a reveal. And we can animate stuff like this inside of here. So you can animate some standard positions. Nothing too crazy, but some stuff it does handle. So let me turn off the bounding box, and again, we could have it like hidden in there, and then it starts to appear, comes through the floor, and then we could put this in like a VFX shot, and that could look pretty sweet. We got some questions coming in. Brent says, would be awesome if there is a Houdini bridge and can send your settings to Houdini. I think there is. I think there is. I would hope so. I don't know that for sure. Hey, what's up, Pug? Welcome. Says, hey, Don, I can't hear you at the moment. I'm here in San Francisco right now, just waving. Wave at me so I know you can see me. You got it. Hi, Pug. I can see you. To create offline render version. Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm going to be doing is taking this out of here, taking all this data out of here and bring it into like Redshift, where I'll render it. But they have a pretty nice preview in here. I mean, this thing, the preview in here looks really beautiful. It's really small on the screen right here for just management, but it's great. Okay, so I haven't tried animating yet, but I'm going to give it a go. So with this mesh selected, I have the position. I think if you click on this, it brings up an animated keyframe. And okay, there it is. So we have an X, Y, and Z position. So right now it knows it's current. So I'm going to hit spacebar, and that pauses the simulation. I think R is going to, I don't know, recycle it or start the loop again. So what I'm going to do is go to the very beginning of the simulation and set a keyframe for the Y value. So I think I just press the keyframe like that. And then over time, we hit spacebar, I'm going to set a new keyframe over here and set the Y value to something else. Oh, it's okay. So it's a right mouse button. I don't know how to move the timeline indicator yet. How do you do this? Oh, oh wow, they have a curve editor. That's nice. Oh, that's reset. Oh, so R stands for reset. We have stepped, and we have play and unpause. Okay, so now we have that. All right, so I'm going to take this keyframe and move it down through the floor and set a value. And so now we should have a fire simulation that starts from the ground and then moves its way up. And so now when we hit R to reset, it should be resetting that. Now, what I don't know is it might be moving our whole bounding box. So I'm going to go to show boundary box. Oh, actually, it looks like we need to move lower. So I'm going to go to reset and then make sure that our starting keyframe is even lower. And then we'll right click on there to set a keyframe. And then now if we run the simulation of the fire, we should have that effect. Cool. It just, boom, flies in there. I'm going to make it happen a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and hit reset. Awesome. Now I'm going to go to the simulation, and we need to maybe reduce a bit of the fire. It's a little hard to see what's going on for me. There's a node in here that I saw someone use in a tutorial. I think it was called Threshold, and it was sweet. It like prunes out some of the data without changing the shape of the simulation too much. But I don't know how to do that yet, so I'll ignore that. Oh, it's gravity intensity. Look at that. You can decrease gravity strength, or I can increase the strength of gravity on fire, whatever that means. Velocity dampening. Not sure what that is. Let's go to our forces. Let's add some. Oh, so right. So which one is the twisting force coming from? So there's a force. All right. So now we get a tornado, a fire tornado, and then we can add a force point, which will push the fire out and away. And then now we have our force. We have a force field. Wait, hide boundary, show velocity, hide bounds. Okay. So now I want to just reduce the amount of fuel in the fire. So I'm going to go to the fuel rate and reduce the amount of fuel that is offered to the simulation. I'm going to reduce it significantly so that we can actually see our 3D model a little bit better. But now, again, the fire doesn't look as cool. It's a trade-off. You can reduce the amount of smoke. Wow, I could use this to make some cool ghosts. So now it's all smoke in there. So let's do a little bit of smoke, and let's do a little bit more fuel in our fire there. Just gonna kind of turn up the smoke, turn down the smoke a bit, and then also just turn down the fire a little bit. And then we have a twisting force. We can go to that force line and choose twist strength, and I can increase it more, so then it becomes like a fire tornado that really pulls away. Or we can reduce the twist strength, which now gives the fire just more of a lift, but not actually a twist. And now it's twisting in the other direction. That's kind of cool. So you can twist the fire any direction that you like. So we're just twisting the fire that way, twisting it this way. Oh, that's the repel strength. My bad. I meant to go to the twist strength. All right, so repel strength is low. And then right here, repel strength is high. Let's do really high repel strength. What does that do? Oh, so I see the fire pushes away from itself now. That's kind of cool. And then let's add a little bit more twist to the fire. Cool. And then we go to our emitter, add a little bit more fuel to the fire so it can really start crunching out some data there. Wow, so it kind of just feels like After Effects. Adobe After Effects has a lot of little parameters that you can tweak, and then you would see your results. And that feels like a very very similar, you know, workflow here. All right, there we go. So that's kind of just a lot of smoke. I wonder, is there a smoke intensity? Where's that data? Smoke, 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 smoke. Where are you? That's particle parameters. So we have emission type is set to volumetric, continuous birth rate, burst size is a lot. Let's reduce the burst size. I don't know what that was doing. Let me undo that. So in our emitter, we have our ember fading rate. It's 100 milliseconds. So if I reduce that, would the fire be shorter? Can't tell. Oh wow, now the fire lasts longer. Okay, I see. Yeah, so I'm still learning. A lot to learn here. A lot to learn. All right, what's this sharpness? Tightness over lifetime. That's really cool. Max lifetime is 4 seconds. Let's reduce the lifetime. I don't know which particles these are. Okay, so now we have a pretty nice fire tornado coming off of our character. The smoke is a little intense, so I'm going to reduce the amount of strength of our object, because this is what our object is going to look like inside of it, right? So you want to always keep that in mind as we are going to see our model. Our model is going to look different, of course. I'll just throw on a different color. I really wish I could throw in my own textures into here, but instead it's kind of just giving you a little bit of like a limited color palette, if you will. Yeah, it's like a limited color palette of what it's doing. It is cool just to kind of see though. All right, so that's with the model inside there. All right, so I'm gonna go to the smoke and maybe reduce the randomness. Okay, go to the smoke emission. Smoke rate's really high. I'm going to reduce the amount of smoke per instance. So now we see a little bit more of the fire. The force line is a lot of twisting going on. I'm going to reduce the twist strength of the fire so it kind of dissipates more straight up and down. I'm going to increase the push strength, whatever that is. Oh, that's just pushing the fire faster. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. So you can use that to make like a jet torch or something. So if there's less push strength, the fire sits more still, I guess. Oh, wow. Look at that. And now it just falls. So if there's no push, the fire is going to fall down. So this could be really cool for making a jetpack or something. But if we add a little bit of push to the fire, okay, and then add a little bit more push strength. All right, add a little bit more push so we're not in the negative, still in the negative push space. Okay, so now the fire kind of stays with the model. That's kind of cool too. Look at that. It's got a very different vibe. It's like it's standing on something. I'm gonna reduce the. I'll go. Oh yeah, the gravity. We have gravity really high. We could probably turn down the strength of gravity now. So what if there's no gravity? What does that do to the simulation? Okay, so it did nothing. I don't know. Yeah, with or without gravity. So then what's a lot of gravity? I can't tell if it's doing anything there. Okay. So gravity's not that big of an influencer. Let's go to the force line. Let's set it to positive. So now fire should be going upwards. Looks like it comes out in pulses now, which is kind of cool. Reduce that a little bit, go to our repel strength. Maybe this will allow the fire to kind of coalesce more. You can also throw in a twist modifier, so the fire should come off twisting off of the character. A little bit of twisting in the fire is kind of cool. A little bit of a fire vortex. Let's go to our simulation color gradients and play with the color again. So why not? Let's go to a nice cyan color. That's our basis. And go with a more mystical fire. And for that highlight, we can go to almost a white gradient. Or we can go yellow green. Yeah, we can go, or we can go more deep blue. Although white seems to be the one that works best. Also, I'm wondering, could we collapse the fire strength by reducing this color gradient? If I make more black in the fire, does that sharpen it? I see. So that's like a threshold slider. That's so cool. So if we just increase the amount of black in the flame, it turns into a threshold. And so I'm guessing if we reduce it, we would get a really big fog of light around the character. I see. Okay, so it's about using this gradient here to control how much of the fire is cutting in and cutting out of the model at any given time. Sweet. Okay, so we got some twisting fire here. Love it. Twisting blue flames. Awesome, awesome. We've got color gradients, fire gradients. When you're ready to render, I think you just drag a node off of this one here, and they have an option to export as a VDB file. So I'm going to click it, export VDB. And this will give you a volume database. And you got to give it what parameters you want to export. So I want to export density, temperature, and fuel, and flames. And I'm going to set the y-axis as my up axis. So go to y up right-handed. I might have to flip it around. I don't know if that's correct. Centimeters looks good. VDB file name, let's give it a name. Let's give it a home. So I'm going to go to the fire monster. We're going to make a spot for the fire flames. This is a volumetric database. That's a VDB file. It's a simulated format. We're going to call this fire volume. All right, and now we just got to choose where we want the flames to start and stop. So right now I have it kind of animating in like this, which is kind of cool because it will create like a little fire from the floor as it comes in to meet the scene. I think that will look really cool. So yeah, let's do that. So we'll go from frame, I guess frame 3 to frame, I don't know, 270 or maybe to 300. Let's just do from frame 3 to frame 300 should be sufficient. So I'm going to go to our volume, and then for the first frame, we'll set to frame 0. The number of frames, we'll do 300 frames. The frame stepping is how many frames you want it to skip. I don't really want it to skip frames, so we'll just keep it where it's at. And if we want the fire to be bigger, we can just drag these numbers out on the sides. That'll give us a slightly larger volume to work with. And we can always just play with our additional pressure. Whoa. So even doing this pressure, so just adding pressure, now it kind of, the fire is like turbulent around the center field. And if we do negative pressure, we'll be pushing it away from the model. I'm going to reduce the repelling strength so it doesn't flip out as much. And what we could do is we could animate the up and down cycle of the repelling strength. So that way the fire repels lower and then it can repel higher just by changing the repel slider amount. Yeah, this looks great. And then I think the speed is a little fast for me. So I'm going to try this, ease that in a little bit more. And then play with the repel strength again. And we'll repel upper and then repel lower. Kind of like lower, which you can see higher. Both of them look kind of cool. We could do both. We can do both. So I'm going to do one down here. So I'm going to copy the force point And then we're going to add this force point into our force simulation. So now there's 2 force points. And this one will set this one to the upper half. And now we get best of both worlds. We'll have a fire sim on above and below. Oh, it looks like it applies to the whole simulation. It's not in isolation. Okay, so then maybe we'll just do a force below like that. Okay, and then we'll go back to the emitter. I'm going to turn up the fuel. And then we'll go to the line force, and I'm going to reduce the amount of twisting a bit. It's a little fast. Oh, now it's like a light vortex. Wow, it kind of looks like a portal entrance or something. Okay. All right, so with all of that set up, we could either add more gradients, playing with the color and the parameters in here. We could do less color parameters. Right now we have a lot of fire kind of covering the face of the character. I do like this blue color, but we can also, I could also do with changing it. So let me just play with some different colors here. Go with like a red fire. Oh, actually the green looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's got a green, yellow base. Throw in a little bit of blue. Fun. Saturate it a little bit more. And then under the force line, let's add a little bit more force noise. That way it's a little bit more random. There we go. Then we'll go to our force line. I'm going to push up I'm going to rotate our force field here a little bit. And let's do a stronger push. Or a less push. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so by setting the twist strength to 1%, that's pretty much no twist, or wait. Oh, all right, so we're just kind of playing with the twist strength of the fire here. We want to see if we want it to kind of pulse in or if we want it to push out. Because if we increase the air pressure, it's going to shoot the fire all out of our field of rendering. So you don't want to increase the pressure that much. You want to kind of keep the pressure tight and close. But if it's too close, you don't even see the particles. So it's all about this balance. Maybe about there. And then for the repelling strength, I'm going to reduce the repel strength so that they're not so scared of each other. Okay, that looks good. So let's go look around. It's a little bright on the top there. Let's do a little bit of repel strength so that they're a little scared to collide with each other's particles. And then there we go, get a little bit of that. And then now we could maybe reduce the air pressure a bit, bring it in a little bit closer. Yeah. Then maybe the color's not feeling right anymore, so I'm going to go back to our color gradient. Maybe we'll go with a pink after all, or a blue, or a green, or a pink looks